Where are the answers? Has the world gone nuts or have I gone nuts? In the first chapter of Letting Go, David R. Hawkins talks about our mind and how we begin to question these things and almost have like a monkey mind about these types of questions. Is there a God? Is God dead? Why is there so much evil in this world? Why are these things happening to me? I don't understand. I just want to figure out the answers. I want to know why. I want to find the solution to these problems that I'm experiencing, to these questions that I'm thinking all the time. He goes on to say that even the experts don't have it all figured out, and they try to fit you and squeeze you into their beliefs. And it works for a minute, but then you start going back to feeling the way that you were feeling before, searching for answers because you don't feel fulfilled. He talks about in the hospitals, nurses are doing paperwork more than they're helping the actual patients. And in my experiences, doctors have been saying that when they go to school, they're being taught to prescribe a pill and not get to the root of the symptoms to heal the actual problem. It's like the whole scene has been dehumanized. He then talks about what we do as humans when we are trying to solve a problem, when we're looking for the answer, and how when we're upset, we go to a doctor, a psychiatrist, you take up religion, get into philosophy, you get your chakras balanced, you get acupuncture, you meditate, you chant a mantra, you work on visualizations, you study psychology, you get a psychic reading, you get into nutrition, you wear psychic jewelry, you see a chiropractor, you join a consciousness-raising group, you shower in cold water, you relive past lives, you punch pillows, write affirmations, make a vision board, do tarot cards, take more courses and workshops, read more books, go on a retreat, try fasting, take antidepressants, join a cult, try the endless varieties of psychotherapy. You get your palm read, you get an aura reading. He went on and on about all the stuff that we as humans do to relieve the suffering, to find the answers that we seek. And those were the ones that stood out to me the most. What drives us to keep looking for the answer? Suffering? Yes. Hope? Yes. But we know deep down inside that there's an ultimate answer. Why can't we seem to find the answer? We don't understand the problem, that's why we can't find the answer. Maybe it's ultra simple, and that's why we can't see it. Maybe the solution is not out there, and that's why we can't find it. Maybe we have so many belief systems that we are blinded to the obvious. Throughout history, there has been some individuals who were able to reach this ultimate answer. But what about the average person who isn't a spiritual genius? David says that confusion is our salvation. For the confused, there is still hope. Hang on to your confusion. In the end, it is your best friend, your best defense against the deathliness of others' answers, against being raped by their ideas. If you are confused, you are still free. If you are confused, this book is for you. I know that was pretty intense that he used the R word when it comes to the answers of others being forced against us, their ideas being forced against us. I just really relate to the graphicness of it because a lot of the times, like, I grew up in like a cult. Like, I was born and baptized in this cult against my will. I didn't have a choice. And so it was like I had this religion forced upon me before I even had the ability to understand what the hell was going on. So it was like these answers of the world, of why we're here, of who God is, of what life should look like, were forced upon me by other people's ideas of what the world should look like, of who I should even be. It's almost like we're put in these places and we grow up with these conditions of these environments that we're in. But looking at it now, I feel I want to take the more empowering approach by knowing that I chose to be born in that Catholic religion. I chose to have that experience for my highest growth, so that I could help other people and so that I could find out what I wanted for my own life. And through that experience, it helped me realize what God truly is to me. And to me, God is unconditional love. And it allowed me to go on this journey. I had things happen to me that made me into an atheist because of my experience growing up. And for a long time, I couldn't believe in a God at all because I didn't understand how the world could be so cruel. It all felt really meaningless. But I went on this spiritual journey for the truth. I did the many things that David R. Hawkins is talking about. And because I didn't fit in or belong or felt like an outcast, everyone said, there's something wrong with you. What's wrong with you? Why aren't you fitting into the norm? Why aren't you following the rules? Why aren't you doing what we want you? Why aren't you being the person that we want you to be? That's normal. So I went through this mental health journey, and I sought for the answer of what was wrong with me, to find out there was nothing wrong with me. And then I go on a spiritual journey, and I find out even more things, and I'm awoken to this consciousness, to the power within me, to this present moment, to the now, to time not being linear. The past, present, future is all happening simultaneously, to all of the things that I've learned and grown and been empowered to the power within me. It's not by finding the answers, but undoing the bases of the problem. And so for my life, I really had to undo the conditioning that I went through from society, the programming of who I should be, of what's normal, of what's right, of how life should look like, of what I should wear, of how I should do my hair. All of these things I had to undo because I realized that I was taking on things that weren't me. And so the more that I started shedding those limiting beliefs and societal norms and all of those things, my authentic self began to emerge. And layer by layer, it's falling away. And I feel that there's still parts of me that's working to be my authentic self fully, but I feel like I am closest to that than I have ever been, to living a life that is authentic and true to me. That inner state of peace is available to us, all of us, at any time. We can reach that same state that the highest of the highest sages and spiritual teachers have reached. The solutions are within us and easy to find. The mechanism of surrender is simple, and the truth is self-evident. Surrender works during daily life. There is no dogma or belief system. You verify everything for yourself so you cannot be misled. There is no dependence on any teachings. It follows the dicta of know thyself. The truth shall set you free, and the kingdom of God is within you. David goes on to say that the mechanism of surrender works for anyone. It works for anyone of any age, of any religion. Even if you're an atheist, surrendering works for anyone. Because the mechanism is your own, nobody can take it away from you. You are safe from disillusionment. You will find out for yourself what is real and what are just the mind's programs and belief systems. Through surrendering, you are going to experience a lot more joy and happiness, and even your friends will notice this shift about you. And it's not like a high that's going to fade. It's just going to release, and you're going to feel better and better and better. You discover that there is an automatic teacher within yourself. And eventually you discover your inner self that you always unconsciously knew was there. And when you discover that inner self within you, the power within you, then you realize and understand what every great spiritual teacher was trying to teach. You will understand it because truth is self-evident and within your own self. David goes on to say that through reading this book, it will delight you and excite you, and you will find the weights have been lifted from you as you read each page. And he said that it's okay to be skeptical, but rather he wants you to be the observer and kind of witness your own self and your own mind as you read through the book. And I'm going through this book chapter by chapter with my takeaways, so make sure to hit the subscribe button if you're into this kind of stuff. What is being offered to you is not something that has to be acquired. It is not something that is new or outside of yourself. It is already yours and merely has to be reawakened and rediscovered. It will emerge of its own nature. The purpose of sharing this approach is to merely put you in touch with your inner feelings and experiences. There is a lot of helpful information that your mind will want to know. This last line of this first chapter was my biggest takeaway. It blew me away when I read it, and so I want to read it now. The process of surrender will begin automatically. For it is the nature of the mind to seek relief from pain and suffering and to experience greater happiness. Let me read that again. The process of surrender will begin automatically, for it is the nature of the mind to seek relief from pain and suffering and to experience greater happiness. As we grow up and we begin to experience suffering, we naturally tend to seek the answers of why we are feeling this suffering, because we just want relief from the pain and suffering. So we seek a therapist, we try pills, we try acupuncture, we try energy healing, we try to join a cult. We do all of these things. We read all these books. We take all these courses. We go to church. We read the Bible. We do all of these things to try and receive some relief from the suffering that we feel. It is the nature of the mind that is constantly seeking this relief from suffering. But ultimately, through surrender, is how we get through that suffering and that pain, and we find that inner self and the power within us. And we learn what all those spiritual teachers were teaching, that the kingdom of heaven is within. This book is literally falling apart because of how many times I've been reading it. I normally don't have books fall apart, but I just saw that and I'm like, oh my God, I've really been delving into this book. In the next video, I'll be going over chapter 2, which talks about the mechanism of letting go. Make sure to like and subscribe if you're interested in this kind of content, and check out my last video on the preface. I will link it at the end. Thank you so much for watching. I truly appreciate your support. All my love, Ash.